What's up, everybody? Paul Hickey here with NoOffSeason.com, and I've got my main man, Kendall.
You just muted yourself.
I am back in the stream. Here we go. What's up, everybody? Paul Hickey. What's up, everybody? Paul Hickey here with NoOffSeason.com. Welcome to the Sports Card Strategy Show, episode 40. We're messing up a little bit today. We've got some technical issues. I apologize. I took myself out of the stream. I don't have it live in our Facebook group.
What's up, guys? Paul Hickey here. Peace.
I thought Kendall was going to be the one that we were going to make fun of today because in the pre-show banter that we're just catching up before the show in our StreamYard room, he's telling me how groggy he is. It's like
I got some serious brain fog.
Serious brain fog. And then here I am with, not putting myself in the stream. And Kendall's like, where are you? You can see my screen, but you can't see me. So, all right. We're going to jump into the show. We're apparently not live in our Facebook group because something broke in my StreamYard account. So I apologize for the Facebook group, folks. But if you want to join the Facebook group, you can go to sportscardstrategy.com and click the quick link to join the Facebook group. And we would love to chat with you there. And we will, of course, post the show there as soon as we are done here. But we're live on YouTube, Twitch, and then you're going to hear this on Apple Podcast and Spotify right after we are live. So you can get it right away. So
do we broadcast to Twitter?
It doesn't stream to, there's no streaming capability from StreamYard to Twitter. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. So I've used Restream in the past and we would broadcast to Twitter. So that's strange. I didn't know that was an option.
StreamYard, at least my package, doesn't have it to Twitter. Maybe if I upgrade, I'll get more places to stream to. And I did check with Anchor because I run the podcast through Anchor, and Anchor does not have the capability to stream live, which I don't know. There's got to be some audio platforms that do. I'm sure Anchor's free, so I'm sure that's probably why. But how you doing, man? It's good to see you. I streamed your baseball card strategy show recording without you last night, and it was a little awkward, but you did a great job.
Yeah, it was weird me tuning into myself talking. Like that was strange. But
yeah, that was. You can feel free to break the third wall anytime you want, and just start commenting like, hey, this is Kendall. I'm talking and I'm commenting to you at the same time. So clearly Paul is playing a video of me.
I was like, I was on my couch with my wife going through we're doing some, so we're in the adoption process. So a little behind the wall for sure. What's up, Paul, Carl? But anyway, we're in the adoption process. So we have some training videos we got to watch and all that kind of stuff. And so on some Sundays, we just dive in on that. So I was in between those videos and I saw you pop up and I was like, oh, this is sick. I'll see what's going on over here. And then my wife was like, is that you talking? I was like, yes, it is actually.
Kendall, you and I are all over the place, man. You're on like at least 4 shows if you include 5 if you include the 3 shows that you're on for the NoOffSeason.com Sports Card Content Network. Yeah. And then you do a show with Just Baseball, right?
I do. Well, yeah, it's designed to happen every Wednesday, but we've just kind of been all over the place with Just Baseball from the All-Star break and stuff like that. So we've kind of stopped with that for a little bit. And then the market, dude, like, I don't know if you just want to jump into L's of the week, but that's my L of the week.
The market.
Just like the market just being down in general has been really L of the week. Sorry, I didn't transition.
L of the week. No, that's good. You did a good. I like your transition. All right, go for it.
But that's definitely been my L of the week, has been the general market, especially from a breaker. Like, we never once have put a break out there and it didn't fill at least in like a day or two. And we've had 2 this month that have just been up and just never filled. And so I'm just like, and it's not even like bad products. I mean, it's Topps Platinum, which was a a unique set that came out this like a couple of months ago. The problem with the platinum set is the checklist is ginormous because they added like active players, and then like every great you can think of is in it. Like for instance, one of the chases in the products is a 52 mantle like recreation card. And it's honestly selling for like $1,000 right now. So it's an awesome short print that you can get in the but we were going to break 2 hobbies of it, and you were going to get 3 teams for $40, which is very obtainable, and it's just not filling. And it's weird. But so just like there's a general like lack of interest right now, and I don't know if it's because of product or because the economy's down or what, but like all over Twitter I've been seeing like, why are eBay auctions going so low? Like it's just like people are just down right now. Like
yeah, for sure. Well, it's weird. I think I've had an experience of selling my old cards, my PSA grading submission that I just got back. People are paying. I think the card, I'm getting what I expected to get for them.
Yeah.
To keep it short and sweet, and people are paying. So I mean, I think, but I'm not going to deny that it's not weird right now. I mean, you're experiencing some weird things, and we're going to the National. We're both going to the National this week, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I have no doubt it's going to be like off the chain, crazy, like a lot of cool stuff happening there. So I'm excited. I plan to kind of document I bought like a VIP ticket several months ago. I thought it was a good value. So I'm excited to kind of document the VIP experience, if you will. I think VIP is a little strong term for it. I think I'm just going to go and document my experience there and kind of take the pressure off myself. And I don't plan on spending too much money, but I don't really have much to sell either. But I think I might give myself a budget and try to make some plays and see what happens. So hopefully your L of the week will bounce back for all of our sake. But my L of the week is I'm going to attempt to do something here with the StreamYard and not mess everything up like I did at the beginning of the show.
See you later.
See you guys. I'm going to, there we go. All right. So you see a Jerry Rice PSA DNA blue slab right now, Kendall?
Yep.
All right, great. So everybody sees this. So for those of you listening on Apple or Spotify, I'm showing a 1986 Jerry Rice Topps rookie PSA DNA old blue slab authentic auto. So I bought this for a couple $100 thinking, the card looks pretty decent inside the slab. I'm going to get this thing card graded and auto graded, and I am going to get it in a new PSA slab for like $60 is the grading fee for that. And they turned it around relatively quickly. Well, unfortunately, my L of the week is this bad boy because, and you might have to explain to me how you think this happened, and feel free to chime in the comments, drop a comment, or if you're on the live chat, let me know what you think. But here's the order. So I sent it in as an order of I did it with a few cards. And the Jerry Rice 1986 Topps card, even though it was a PSA DNA cert, came back with a questionable authenticity on the auto, and I assume maybe as well on the card. I'm not really sure how this works, but it kind of boggles my mind that this was a PSA slab and I sent it into PSA to get the card grade and the auto grade. And it didn't say reprint on the card. As you can see, it just says card on the old slab, but I got a questionable authenticity, and it's on its way to my PWCC vault now. So I don't know if they kept it in the old slab or not. So I don't know if I have the opportunity to have it in the slab that I bought it in, or if I'm going to get, I've had questionable authenticity grades from PSA before, and they basically send it back in a card saver with a label that says do not holder. And so I'm not sure which way I'm going to get this, but that's an L to me because I've got about $260 in the card. And I thought if this thing comes back with a card grade at all, of any grade and a auto grade should come back with an auto grade, right? Because the PSA authenticated it in the past. Then I'm gonna have a card that's probably worth more than what I've put into it. But at this point, it's a big L. So what do you think? And you can see my other ones here. We won't get into those. I did do okay on the other ones, a Giannis and 2 Magics. But Kendall, what do you think of this this Jerry Rice situation?
I would be wanting an explanation from PSA, because like they had authenticated it previously and then now they think it's not authentic, like that doesn't make sense. Either maybe I don't know. Like, I feel like if they mess that up, they should give you at least your money for the resub back. I don't know, like, because unless they can show that like maybe it was a fraud or something, like maybe you bought the PSA slab that was on a fraud slab. I don't know. Like,
maybe. Yeah, I mean,
have
maybe.
No idea.
I would like an explanation. I mean, I think this is something that maybe I can tweet at them. They've replied.
Well, they'll be there on Thursday. I mean, like, you could just ask them.
They'll be there on Thursday. I mean, maybe there'll be I'll have a picture of it. I'll have these pictures and I'll have maybe it'll be back in my vault with a picture. If PWCC can get it curated with a picture of some sort in the vault by this weekend, I might be able to get an explanation depending on how long the line is. But yeah, that's an L.
Well, if you're a VIP member, you can get in there first. Maybe you just go over there.
There we go. I am a VIP member, He-Man.
Look at it.
So there we go. There we go.
That's so strange, though, man. I'm sorry about that because I know you were really looking forward to that one.
Super weird. I was excited about the others, but that one kind of sucked. So, yeah, that was my L of the week. All right, so let's go to your W of the week. You're gonna lead us off here with the W of the week, and we're gonna try to take our comments from the live chat as we go. So, actually, before we go to your W of the week, let's give Paul Carl Cards a shout out here. What's up, Paul? He says he's really disappointed with PSA these days. His most recent order was so inconsistent in a stupid way. Card I expected a 7 or 8 got a 9 despite a major dinged corner. Yeah, this is weird. I mean, I'm going with PSA because of the resale value, but it does seem like their grades are a little weird. He says another copy of the same exact card in much better condition. He expected a 9 or 10 and got an 8. Yes, I mean, who knows? Is this maybe because they're scaling and training new graders? Kendall, what do you think?
I actually heard a rumor that they're sending it to people's homes. Like they have graders that are at people's house. Like
they're working from home. That's what you're saying.
Okay. Here's the thing. All right. This is what I compare it to in my head. And this might not have any relevance to most people, but it will to you. So when I was in grad school, I met T for the first time, my partner at Wild Cards. He was the TA of the first grad school class that I had at the time. So he was like the grading assistant, was doing some doctoral work, blah, blah, blah. He would grade my papers way harder than the other students, just because like I don't know if he was like trying to just be a big bro or something. I don't know. Anyway, so I was just like 2 different TAs could grade the same paper, and then one of them would give it like an 80 and the other one would be like, that was crap, and then there's a failing grade on that one. And so I wonder if they are trying to figure out a streamlined process, if there are some graders that are like the old school graders that are harder on cards, and then, or the opposite, maybe the old schoolers are like mostly dealing with vintage. Like, I wonder if they send vintage cards to certain like vintage graders, or I just would love to know that process behind that. Because if you're sending a vintage card to a person who's like only deals with Bowman, like PSA 10s, and they're looking for one small pock on a whole card, and then all of a sudden they get a card that has soft edges and is like looks like kind of fabricy instead of like hardcore cardboard. Like, I just don't know if they would grade it the same as if a vintage collector was like, wow, this mantle is actually in great condition, and it might have soft corners, but it's pretty phenomenal in comparison,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't
here's the
know.
problem I have if that is in fact true. I mean, I might ask, maybe I'll ask them that, see if I could get an answer when I'm at the national this week. But if you're grading, and now I don't, in general, I don't have a problem with anyone working from home this day and age. So let me get that out of the way. But if you're a company like any of the grading companies, I mean, I've run companies and I've always had, we've always been remote probably for the last 10 years. And so each person works under different circumstances. I can tell when someone I'm working with, I can tell kind of what their day looks like based on kind of the pattern of communication, right? And so if you extrapolate that to a grading company, you have to believe, even if you ship each grader the same equipment to use, there's no guarantee that grader is going to use that equipment. And that's a big bogey. That's a huge bogey. Because you got to think that the lighting, the machine, I remember watching Sports Card Investor did an interview, did a whole big feature on SGC last year. I think we all know it. And they went through the whole building and they showed the graders and they showed the equipment that they use. And I mean, if that's not consistent, that's a huge problem. That's it right there. So, you can say, well, we've shipped these people this equipment. They might not know how to use it properly. The other thing too, man, is like, what if your kid's bus arrives at 3 p.m. and you just like want to get this card graded to like move on to the next card? That's a thing too. But if you're at the office, you don't have that option, and you have a supervisor maybe like supervising you. Whereas walking into the grading room, and like if your kid's bus arrives at 3 p.m. and you want to go get your kid off the bus, I mean, and you stop grading a card, or you forget what parts of the card that you looked at, or and I use that as an example, like we don't all have kids, but you know what I mean? Like like Amazon shows up at your door and you get interrupted and you have to go, like that shit happens when you're working from home. And so, that definitely could play a role in like just increasing the margin for error.
Will you put sorry, I thought you were done.
No, I'm done.
Will you put Fed Up's comment?
Yeah, Fed Up says, what up, Fed Up? He says, I'm a seller on Whatnot. Unfortunately, only PSA is what sells for value. Thanks for the shout out on the great show. We really appreciate that. Thanks for watching and being a part of the stream. Great call. So Kendall, I know you're on Loop. Are you having the same?
I am on Whatnot too, actually.
You're on Whatnot. Okay.
But the reason why I brought this up is this is the same discussion that we've been having over the past month. And I think the reason why I wanted to go here is because, so for instance, remember a couple weeks ago, we were talking with Paul Fisher about the conversation that Deborah and I had whether about Beckett or PSA. And I was just telling everybody, I was just like, PSA is kind of the nature of the beast at this point. Like, you've just got to kind of play the game. And I think this comment, in respect to the next Paul Cards comment about like new graders and they might not just know what they're doing yet, like, I think that's completely like the game. Like, I would 100% agree. Don't grade your cards with anything other than PSA if you're wanting to sell them, because they're just not going to move. Like, I have a friend who's always just like, dude, I got this CSG slap. And I'm like, I don't want it. Even if it's like, I literally, okay, so I've been telling you for a couple of weeks that I'm looking for that mantle at the National, right? The blue one. I'm looking to try to get a PSA 5 or 6. You know what I'm talking about? 79 mantle.
Yep.
I have a friend who has a CSG 5 mantle, same card. Okay. And he's like, hey man, I want here, I have this one. I want this much money for it. And he was like, yeah, it's going to equate to the same level as a PSA 5, CSG 5, same level. Yeah. So that's how much money I want for it. I'm like, nope.
No,
because I'm not going to pay the same amount of money, because to me, a CSG 5 is worth like a PSA 3, because not only do I have to pay about $100 for a crossover grade, but then what if it doesn't come out of a PSA 5? What if the grading standard is different? And so I just got to hedge my bet there. So, but what I wanted to say in regards to Paul Carl saying there's new graders, I am willing to submit the $18 July special, whatever it is, that $18 like 20 cards, like under 199 value. I know they're handing those cards to the new graders. Like they're not handing the 86 Fleer to a brand new grader, right? Like just think about that. And then so like for me, I'm completely okay with the development long run of cards for my $20 slab to be graded by a brand new person that might come back as a 9 when it's probably a 10, or the opposite way. I'm okay with that because I think in the long run that gets us further. And I'm okay with taking that tax, that tax of leadership or whatever you want to call it. I'm 100% okay with that. And I think I'm still using the PSA in the future for selling. I'm just not okay. Yeah, exactly. We're all using PSA because that's what sells. But at the same time, obviously they have issues. Not trying to avoid that.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm okay too with like making a play on a CSG or an SGC or a BGS over to PSA. But I think if you have if sometimes what I found is that like on eBay, when I buy on eBay, it's easier to buy because there's no negotiation, really. I mean, you can make an offer and you can make comments and stuff back and forth to each other. So there is negotiation, but it's not like the person. I think when you know the person or when you have access to the person, you basically are in a position where you maybe can't make a deal because maybe they feel like you need to do them a favor or something like that. And so it sounds like, your guy is not necessarily in the wrong, but I do think that he's not putting you in a position to make a play. I think I think you would need to look at like, okay, and this is for the audience too, right? Like, I think if you were to make a play on something like Kendall's talking about with his Mantle, you would want to cross over to PSA before you sell it. So you would want to say like, okay, well, if a PSA 5 sells for X, I would want to.
Did I say Mantle? I meant Gretzky. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So Gretzky.
My bad.
no worries. And the concept is still the same, obviously.
Yeah,
right?
The concept is the same. I just want people to know I'm talking about 79 Gretzky with the blue border.
79 Gretzky. Yeah, we talked about that in the show. We went off for 1 week, guys, so bear with us. We're a little rusty.
Brain fog, bro. See, I told you.
2 weeks ago in episode 39, we talked about Kendall had Gretzky in the Gauntlet for me, and then that's when he was kind of talking about trying to get that Gretzky. So, yeah, like you would have to say, all right, well, a PSA 5 and a PSA 4 and a PSA 3 sell for X, Y, and Z. And so if I'm gonna buy this CSG 5, I would want to leave myself X amount of profit for each of those other 3 PSA grades, and then make your offer based on that. And then of course, the 6 you could probably wait on that, so you could probably submit it for $60. I would do like the low end kind of thing. All right, Kendall, what's your W of the week? W of the week.
My W of the week, I think, is I'm going to the National this week, so that's got to be a W. Like I hope it's a W. I hope next Monday we're not like L of the week. It sucked, The
National.
There was 5 people there, and it was me and Paul in a room together. But I think I'm just very excited about that. I think last year when I walked in, that was like a defining moment for me of like cards are going to be a reality for me for the next near future, and then I'm coming back this year saying like, I have a whole year more underneath my belt, a lot more experience. I know what I'm looking for. I know what I'm not looking for. Because interestingly enough, there were like booths at the National last year that were selling, like they were big enough card shops that they like grade their own cards or something. And there was like some really cool cards that I was like, dang, that's a sweet card. And it's in a 10 slab from wherever the heck that card shop is grading themselves at, and I was just like, cool, that's a sweet card. Now I wouldn't spend 5 minutes there. I'd just be like, oh, can't resell that. All right. Yeah. Unless it's a good enough deal where I can factor in the crossover grade. I just think I've learned a whole lot. And so I think my W of the week is actually kind of a W of the year. I think just the longer that we stay focused and engaged and entrenched in this hobby, the more we are going to be able to make smarter and better decisions based on a risk analysis that is an equitable product for what we're trying to accomplish. And I think we're only going to get better and better at this. And I think if we watch this a year from now, when me and you are going to the national in 2023, I think we'll say the exact same thing if we've spent enough time developing our craft over the next 12 months. And so, very excited for this week. Also, a W of the week is that I know that also my L of the week was the market is down. My W of the week is I've still been able to move product pretty well. Like my eBay sales have been going pretty well, which is strange. Like breaks, nobody's buying into them, but like singles on eBay, especially of the players I know are worth selling at this point, like they're moving. And I think that's good. I've been able to move some product and save up that little nurse bat or little purse to go to the national with, And so, people on Twitter and everything, I see these tweets of like, nothing's moving on eBay. And I'm like, yeah, when you're putting a 5th year Paul Goldschmidt base on eBay, like nobody wants that. But if you're, for instance, Alejandro Kirk, the Bowman 10 of his, like Bowman PSA 10 of his, I bought this for $75 last year. It's selling for like $215 right now.
Yeah,
that's
great,
pretty
man.
hefty.
I think, and I'll comment on this real quick too, because I agree with you. And Paul Carl Cards, thanks for the participation today, man. He says cheap singles are killing it. He's up 20%.
Exactly.
So far. Let's go, Paul Carl Cards. Good
Let's go.
work, my man. Let's go. That's a W of the week right
Crystallize
there.
it, baby.
Yeah, crystallize the investment. The Pauls are on fire because Paul Fisher, Paul Carl, Paul Hickey.
Dude, what's up with all the should I change my name?
No, you gotta stay. You're lefty, man. You're the catalytic lefty. You gotta stay Kendall.
All right.
But anyway,
it was worth an ask.
I never really liked my name until this year. Now I've got some Pauls on my side. But anyway, Paul Fisher actually, he shares a lot of thoughts with me offline, and I won't divulge anything specific, but I would say, Kendall, you probably agree with me. He is one of the more not critical, but he's one of the more just very objective people that we talk to. He's not going to get he's not going to throw hyperbole around. He's not going to get excited about hype. He's going to think critically about things before he makes his decisions. And I think he's made some comments in the Facebook group lately about being concerned, and he shared his experiences on the show, and he shared his experiences with us about being concerned about some things in the market. And but I think he did email me directly and say, I think you and Kendall are correct in that if you are prospecting wisely and you are buying guys that you believe will rise. Andy Kaysen does it. You do it. That's what the Sports Card Investment Report is about. The Sports Card Investment Report is about, the rankings are one thing. The rankings are really different than the play, right? So you get the rankings for free, and the rankings are more along the lines of we're going to showcase you kind of the names that really well in order of the names that we think are the best people to pay attention to as investments. That doesn't mean you should always buy them at the time that they're ranked high. That doesn't mean that you should, sometimes it means the opposite, right? But then when you upgrade and you get the profiles, that's when you get the actual play. And so I think diving into the play is where we flex our knowledge, and we say, but my point is the opportunity is there. People are making money. You've got Paul Carl, you've got Paul Fisher saying you're right. People need to be doing that.
First off, guys, Paul Fisher says you're right. That's a big deal. He doesn't
throw that
around. He does not throw that around.
Paul Fisher has been very complimentary of this entire operation. So I just want to preface that more so than he's been critical.
That means we are doing some things.
He does not say you're right.
Yeah.
Ever, and he just said you're right. So that is a W of the week in that even though the market is down, whatever. And the other thing I wanted to say is the people you mentioned on Twitter. Okay, I can understand that people are disappointed, but I would throw this out there. Were those people crushing it in 2020 and 2021? Were they are they thinking nothing's moving, which is hyperbole? Are they saying that because they're not making as much of a profit as they did before? Now that would be an indicator that the market's down, but that's not an indicator that you can't make money when you when you lift up the hood and go digging for stuff. And so, you know,
I think that's on for me. That would probably be me. Like those people probably were in 2020 crushing it. You know, like the people that were throwing, you know, 5th-year Goldschmidts out there, and you've got set collectors all over the place and blah blah. You know, like sure, dude. There were times when I was looking at cards and I was like, how in the world is this worth that amount of money? Like it's not a first, it's not a hollow, it's not a nothing. Like it's just a card.
Yeah.
You know, it's not graded. It's not even a top loader, you know, like, and
I mean, I got roasted on in some Facebook groups when I first got into the hobby, and I wrote my book about my experience getting back into the hobby, and I was not, definitely don't have the knowledge that I have today.
Are you going to rewrite your book?
I thought about, I've got it in my Basecamp to-do list, Kendall. I've got it in my Basecamp to-do list, but it's not really due to start thinking about it until December. So I've got a few, I've got like maybe 5 or 6 months before I would think about, okay, what's a good update to the book? What's a good sequel to the book? Because definitely, I think that book probably still stands for some things, but I think that it's probably completely useless for others. And so, yeah, I think definitely need to refresh the book. And got roasted in just like, what are you doing buying Giannis 2017 base prism graded? Like, what are you doing that? And what are you doing, you know, thinking about, like, I wasn't thinking about getting it graded because PSA, but I owned it because I had bought it and I was trying to resell it. And they were like, look, you know, but some people were super nice about it and other people were not as nice. And so I think that's an example of what you're talking about. Like, I'm doing better now because when I entered, things were high and I made mistakes just based on timing, but now I'm doing better because of the learnings. And so I think it's hard to say. You could say that the numbers are down, but I don't think you can say that. I think you can say we have a market now. We have a sports card market now. I don't know that there was an established market 18, 24, 36 months ago. You had people arbitraging. That doesn't mean that there's a market. Right. And now I think we have a market. So I'm excited about that. All right. Let's get to my W of the week. So my W of the week is my sports card investment report additions. So this is going to provide some value. It's not just going to be a total ad for nooffseason.com. So stay tuned here. But at nooffseason.com, we have the sports card investment report. You can upgrade and get all of the player profiles. We have over 300 player profiles now, 300 player profiles where my team and I are digging in. We're doing the research. We're listing the data of the cards, and we're telling you whether or not the person is a buy, sell, hold, or multiple of those things. And we're telling you the play to make on over 300 cards. So I'm excited for a few reasons about adding UFC profiles. We have UFC profiles, 10 UFC profiles. We have, let's see how many, 13 WWE profiles now. And we have celebrity card, which, you know, I think culture cards, I think might be a better term, but I'm calling them celebrity cards for now. 10 celebrity card profiles. So in terms of the celebrity cards, the wrestling cards, and the UFC cards, getting those added to nooffseason.com this week was my W of the week, because, and here's why. I think they are, thank you. Thanks to my team. I've got a team of basically paid interns now, 5 paid interns at No Off Season that are helping me do a lot of the research, the data gathering, and even helping doing some of the writing. And so I appreciate them. And I think it's important though, because, and this is actually something Paul Fisher emailed about as well. Gotta love our guy. They're sports related. You know, the celebrity ones aren't always sports related, but of course UFC and wrestling, I think people aren't going to just bail on sports cards. You know,
No.
they're not just going to bail on sports cards. They're always going to look for other opportunities for the next arbitrage or the next play. And so I've challenged myself starting back 6, 7, 8 months ago to get knowledgeable on these other sports and these other areas within sports cards. And so feeling knowledgeable enough to provide the player profiles in No Off Season, I think is going to help not only myself, but anyone who visits nooffseason.com. to learn. And I think the other thing it's going to do is, there's a lot of great content creators that maybe now we're going to be able to collaborate with, because we can throw out our UFC profile thoughts, our wrestling card profile thoughts, and then I'm hoping to get a wrestling person to come in and say, look, see what you're doing with the wrestling. Can I come help you out? That's happened with you. It's happened with Andy. It's happened with Gary from Hoops and Cards. Greg, who's into F1, who helps me host the F1 Card Strategy show. So if anyone out there is hearing this or watching this, and you're into any of these other, not as major but growing areas of the hobby, niche wise, definitely email me at paul@nooffseason.com and we can collaborate. So that's my W of the week.
I like it.
All right. So
can I ask you a question?
Yeah, and everybody drop a comment about this. I would love to hear what you think about this. But yeah, Kendall, what's up?
Is there a scenario where you would add you've already added non-sports cards. Is there a scenario you would add trading cards to the list?
I wouldn't say no to that, but I would say that trading cards would be something that I would have to. I assume you mean like TCG, like Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, those other. I would think there's two scenarios with which that would happen. One of them would be nooffseason.com grows and scales to a point where I can bring on people that run that content independently of me, and I just help make sure that it gets published properly and facilitate basically at a high level. Because I, at this point in my life, am not going to, it would be like learning a foreign language to me. And I've literally tried doing that in real life, and it's really freaking hard. So I don't think I would have the energy of doing that. The other scenario, though, that may be more likely is, let's say there's a new TCG that launches that I fall in love with, right? That would be the other scenario where, like, oh man, this looks sick, I'm going to follow this. Like, I think Top Shot had a chance with me last year. And what up, Greeny Green? Good to see you. We love when you participate in the live chat. So let us know what's up with you. I think Top Shot had a chance with me last year, because obviously I'm a big NBA guy. I've got that since I was a kid. I worked in the NBA. That was different. That wasn't TCG, but that was something different that I got into. And then I actually made a decision. I was like, I've got to focus. I can't spread myself too thin. So I think that's what it would have to be, but that's a good question.
Cool.
Thank you.
I have no reason why I asked that. I just wondered, like, I could see there being like #1 Charizard, whatever.
Like, I mean, my sister actually collected Pokemon, and she just told me, I just saw her in Michigan a few days ago, and she just told me that she was submitting some of her old Pokemon to PSA. So if for some reason she was like, hey, I want to write some articles about my Pokemon experience for No Off Season, sure, why not?
What's her name? Paulina?
See where that goes. Her name is Gigi.
Okay, that's pretty
so
sick.
What up, Gigi? All right, so all right.
Is that her real name?
Let's go to, well, it's short for Virginia.
Oh, all right, fair.
So, all right, so let's go to the buy of the week, the best cards to buy right now and why. I've got mine prepared using Market Movers app by Sports Card Investor. You can get your first month for only $1 using the promo code NOOFFSEASON, and I would encourage you guys to do that because it is a great tool. Not only that, but they did just launch Market Movers X is what they're calling it, I believe, and they're renaming the packages and changing their pricing. So it's a new and improved software app from Market Movers by Sports Card Investor. And they're launching it, I believe, to the public later this week at the National. But as an affiliate, I got a sneak preview of the product thanks to Doug Husky and the other guys over at Sports Card Investor. Good work. Keep up the good work. So we're using your tool and encouraging our audience to use the tool because it is a great tool. So I'm going to go to mine and let's see if I can go ahead and show my deals. Okay, so this is from the mobile app. This is not the new and improved Market Movers X, but Kyler Murray is one of my deals, one of my buy of the week from Market Movers by Sports Card Investor. This would be his 2019 Prism Hyper out of 175 in PSA 9. The buy it now of $450 is actually 25% and $150 below the last sold comp of that card. And we are in, the other reason I chose Kyler is because we are in football card buying season. It's going to end very quickly here. Just aired the Football Card Strategy Show episode 4 with Andy Kaysen, who just brings the rain like no other human being I have ever interacted with in my life. He's just like, I don't know how he does that, but it's very impressive. He just knows his stuff. So I know he is adamant about like football card buying season happening right now, but like basically monitoring it very carefully because it's going to end any second. And so then there's going to be a flippable window prior to week 1 and with some people into week 4 and stuff like that. So Kyler, I think is, he's a guy that Andy and Carter the Power over on their show, Football Card Quest show, they do an amazing job. They've talked a lot about Kyler, and check out the Football Card Strategy Show episode 4 at footballcardstrategy.com. He talks about Kyler as well on that one. So he's one of them. And then another one, this is a different play, Kendall. So I saw an Archie Manning. I did a little digging in the deals tool at Market Movers. And again, you can get your first month for $1 using the promo code no offseason. So check that out. Now would be a great time to do this going into the National. 1972 Topps base Archie Manning. Buy it now for $82. This is $27 less than its last sale. So about 25% down. I thought that was an interesting one with the market the way it is with some vintage stuff. So yeah, that's those are my two main deals of the week. And let me see before I hand it over to you and get your thoughts and get your deal of the week. Let me see if I had any other notes on that. Nope, that was it for me. So what do you think? You can either comment on mine or you can jump into yours.
So I think the Kyler one is interesting. Kyler's always been something of a mystery to me. So Kyler and I grew up in the same city. He played for Allen, which is like the biggest 6A school in Texas. Then he gets recruited out of high school to play either baseball or football. Absolutely electric at the state finals in high school. I watched him all 4 years play at Allen, and I just rip it up. Like he was outstanding. And I was sitting there thinking underneath like the lights at the Cowboys Stadium, because that's where they do the state tournament. I was like, this dude's going to play on Sunday for sure. Like there's just no way that he can't. The only weird thing was like he was short. But like what people didn't see was how good of a baseball player he was. And then like you did see that a little bit at Oklahoma when he did both. But anyway, then he goes and gets recruited to my favorite school. Like he goes and starts at A&M, and we're just like, oh, Kyler Murray's here. This is sick. And then all of a sudden, like the coach does like some crazy stuff, and he's like, I'm out of here. I'm going to go play at OU and literally be a Heisman. And so that was kind of upsetting to me. But then he goes on and gets drafted by the A's in the first round. I believe it was like this 11th pick or something like that. So ginormous slot money basically there. Not ginormous compared to what he's making now, but it was funny. And then I was thinking, well, at that point you knew he was going to get drafted in football too. And you're like, what is he going to choose? So he gets drafted by Oakland. You think like, dude, this guy's going to get drafted by San Fran or the Raiders, and he's going to play both. It's going to be our lifetime's two-way or two dual sport player or whatever. He's going to be our Bo Jackson / Deion Sanders, whatever. And then none of that happens. And then in the offseason this year, you're like, frick, is he ever going to be a Cardinal anymore? I was like, dude, is he just going to go play for the Oakland A's again? Like, what the heck's going on? And then he signs a big contract and all of it, it's just like, but anyway, Kyler is always right there for me for some reason. That if a guy I always am interested in getting, I draft him almost every year in at least one or two of my fantasy teams. He's a guy I love watching. He's a guy that's catalytic, if you will, Paul, like when he's on the field. So I would definitely spend some money right now on him, especially if Andy and you think he's a buying opportunity. You guys know that I'm not super big into football, but like in the sports card strategy football / quarterbacks list, I'm all in on him, let's do this. So
nice. Well, Paul Carl Cards says he's been getting killer football card deals, buying lots, approximately 800 color and rookies from Prism. He's going to list them as singles tonight. I mean, Andy would just absolutely.
Wow. 800 listings. You got some time, my friend.
Yeah, no kidding. And he spent $50 for both lots. Well, Paul, definitely let us know how that goes. Please follow up with us on that somehow.
I'm curious if you're going to list them as auctions or buy it nows.
I know. Hey, Paul, can you please join the Facebook group if you haven't yet, and just keep us updated on that, because that's pretty cool. Greeny Green agrees with you. And he says lots are where it's at. And then Paul says he can list 200 to 400 singles per hour. That's pretty good work, man.
How? I gotta know. I gotta know how.
Yeah,
I need to know, because I need that. I need that in my life.
Maybe we can get Paul on the show. So actually, we're gonna start doing some video clips on the show. So Paul, you could even just send us a video clip explainer of how you do this, and then I could, he says he doesn't use Facebook. That's cool. So just comment on the YouTube video then after it airs. That'd be cool.
I need to know a process. We need to break down. I need a Mythbusters. Is it real or not? 200 to 400 an hour.
He says Chrono card is the key. That's interesting.
All right. I've got something to look up.
Yeah, I have not heard of that. So I'll look into Chrono card too. Good stuff, Paul. Thanks for being a part of today's broadcast, and Greeny Green, you as well, everybody else.
I do have some buys though. If
Kendall has buy, of course you do. I didn't forget about your buys. Let's go. What are your buys?
All right, we've heard this name quite a bit from me before, but like I said, with a couple of months ago when I was like, this might be your last chance on O'Neal Cruz. This is not even near your last chance on this guy. Okay, but please help me make you some money, okay? And go out and buy some Indy Rodriguez cards. The man over the past 2 days has pumped 4 big ones over the wall. This guy is incredible. He's playing catcher now at about a 20% clip, and he's logging time at second base and in the outfield. And the Pittsburgh Pirates are needing more players at the big league level. They are struggling, but they're in third, but they have the second highest negative run differential in baseball. So one of two things could happen. Indy could definitely be involved in a trade package. I don't think that's going to happen, because I don't think that the Pittsburgh Pirates are going to trade Indy. I think he's too valuable. But if you have Henry Davis and Indy Rodriguez on the major league roster at the same time, Henry can be the primary catcher and Indy can be the secondary catcher, but they can both play every day. That's super, super valuable. And he's pumping big ones over the wall. Dude, come on. He's he has an effortless swing, and he's very personable. So everything, if you go look on Twitter, there's these guys, I saw one yesterday that was Indy Rodriguez was so excited to show me his new bats that came in, I had to just turn on the camera. And then you see an interview about him being these new bats, they're so cool, come look at them. He's just, you know how Julio is getting a lot of attention right now because he's just a joy to be around. Yeah. Obviously, he's not getting only that attention. He's incredible.
He's also pumping him over the wall.
He's also big league in it, in a big way. But Indy, I think, will be that kind of character to where people just love to love him. And I think when Paul Fisher, here he is again, going to bring him up again. He was asking me this week, is there another guy that's universally loved in the product other than Jordan and a couple of other players? And I was like, I think Mike Trout, maybe Ken Griffey, but at the same time, I don't think there's a modern one that's like next level. And I think Julio is definitely that kind of guy. But I also think a guy like Indy could very well be that same way. Not maybe in the top end, like his ceiling is not as high, but he's definitely a good player. So please go buy some Indy Rodriguez. And I just sent my out of 5 Indy Rodriguez auto to PSA. So hopefully that comes back well.
Yeah, let's go. I hope it does too.
Yeah, so Indy is definitely mine. My market movers logged me out of our thing, and I couldn't remember the password. So I'll have to, like graph it or something next episode. But Indy is a huge one for me right now. Nice,
love it. Good buy of the week, and yeah, we'll get you into that market movers upgraded product here coming up. Again. Thanks to the guys over at Market Movers, guys and girls over at Market Movers. They do an amazing job. They are putting out a new upgraded version of the Market Movers product, and you can get your first month for only $1 by using the promo code NOOFFSEASON. So let's go. All right, so who to sell now? My guy to sell now is Jason Dominguez. One particular card, though, and one particular reason. And so I'll get into this real quick. So this card right here, particularly the 2020 Bowman first paper prospect PSA 10. So here's my reason, and this is the screenshot from Market Movers in the mobile app. It's up to let's see, it's selling for I don't know. It's up by 25%. So I think it's selling for over $40. I think it was selling for like $28. That's what I'm reading here. So yeah, average sale $36. It was under 30. So approaching $40, was under 30, up about 25%. This is a card that's just never going to go that high. This is the type of card. It's essentially his base paper rookie in a PSA 10. The only reason why I think it's even liquid at all is because it's a PSA 10, and it's just even in the markers that this guy will have in his career, which many people think he will have, this particular card is not going to go anywhere. And so I think coming off his home run in the futures game, Kendall, which I know you want to talk a little bit about the futures game in this episode, so this could be a good opportunity to do it. Jason Dominguez, you're going to have a lot of people that are saying that he is the real deal, and so you want to hang on to his bigger cards potentially. So I'm not saying unload your Jason Dominguez bigger cards, because chances are you've been waiting for a big payday on those, and I think there are markers in his career that will happen. He's at high A ball, so he's got 2 or 3 different call-ups coming. He's probably got, different long balls that he's going to hit. He's going to develop. He's a big name, obviously. Obviously, the Yankees own his rights, so there's a huge potential for his large cards to continue to move higher in price. So I'm not saying to crystallize those just yet, but I think that they're actually, some of those haven't even really risen in value in a while. But this particular paper PSA 10 product, you got to get rid of it. Kendall, what do you think? I know that's there's a lot in there for you. I know you're trying to synthesize here.
Well, here's my overall take. Get rid of Jason Dominguez, just in general. There's no way he's going to be as good as people expected him to be. And I think people are starting to realize that. And over the last 6 months, there's been an incredible amount of losses being had in the Jason Dominguez market. Like, there's people that have taken fat losses in him by not listening to guys like me and Aram and T of saying, like, do not buy into this guy's hype. Is he going to be a major league player? Yes. Is he going to be a guy that's worth owning? I believe so, but I think he was rocketing so high that there was just like at one point we made jokes about like, what's his floor? People say it's like his floor is Mike Trout and his ceiling is God, there is nothing better than the Dominguez card, but then like he gets into the futures game, and I thought that was a little bit of a nod to the Yankees of like, hey, we're going to put him in here because everybody that's a nominal baseball fan just keeps asking us if Dominguez is going to be in it. I don't know if he necessarily earned being in the futures game, but he was in there and he hit a home run. And so I was like, okay, but there were some other things that he did that people aren't talking about that weren't good. There was a pop fly, basically. I think it was maybe on the warning track, but still very catchable. He goes to catch it, and he just like squeeze, and it goes, and it just falls out of his glove. I'm like, dude, that's not an all-star. That's not an all-star. You know, like, even if he is an all-star, very immobile. He runs like the little brick guy on Mario where he's like, you know, like the guy's just like, I'm not impressed. But I will say there is a little bit of a peak right now, and I think that it's a great opportunity for you to get out on a guy, and I think that's kind of what you're saying. I think it's an opportunity where you can get out on somebody if you made bad purchases previously, and maybe even if it doesn't go back to like where you bought in, this might be a good time to recover as much as you can in the short term. Long term, I think there is some value on him, but I think the market is going to continue to go down on him over the next couple of years, especially once he gets up higher in the minor leagues and people start exposing him a little more. And he's not so athletically driven.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying like sell his paper prospect PSA.
I'm
10
100% there with
right
you.
now. Maybe if you're holding like his first Chrome auto serial numbered and they're graded and they're like thousands and thousands of dollars that you have been expecting to give for them or that you paid for them, I do think there's an opportunity like when he gets called up to the next level to maybe sell. But I would definitely like not wait until he gets to the next level and then gets exposed, basically. So I think we're on the same page with that.
100%.
And hopefully you can get your money back out of Dominguez, or hopefully
dude, at the
you pulled it from a
National
pack. Yeah.
last year, I had a PSA 8 paper camo of him. So it's a camo parallel, but it was a paper 8, like one of the very first slabs I ever bought, because like I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going out there and buying a slab, you know, like not the first slab I owned, but the first slab I bought when the market resurfaced. And I ended up selling it at the National last year for $35. Can you imagine that? First off, like a PSA 8 being sold for $35, no matter who it is.
Yeah.
You know, like,
for an ultra modern card, that's pretty high for sure.
So
Greeny Green says, how do I get out of my Miles Bridges investments? And that's a good question.
Yeah, man.
I was high on him. Don't mean to derail us too much, but thanks for the question, Greeny Green. We'll get to Kendall's sell now here in a second. But yeah, I think Miles Bridges is that's a tough one. Hopefully we can get some more information on his situation and see.
And I would have
if he
said
can make a comeback.
Buy. I mean, I would have said like this guy's gonna be really good. You know, like maybe not top shelf.
I was saying buy Miles Bridges for sure all off season. Yeah,
and then like that comes out and you're just like, you know, like you're just that's why buying vintage cards is good. Like you're never gonna tear an ACL to ruin your career when you're Sandy Koufax. You know, like
I always kind of say as long as somebody doesn't pull a Bill Cosby, then you're probably pretty safe.
That's true.
That's a bad one. All right, Kendall, what's your sell now? Get rid of who you getting rid of?
Well, I would equal that I think I already have equaled, like get rid of Jason if you can. But I also think it's a good opportunity to sell high on Juan Soto. And this is probably a take that's not often agreed with. So right now his market is bananas because of everything that's going on with his trade speculation, which interestingly enough is actually why Jason Dominguez market is going up as well, because there's a lot of thought to, for instance, last night Jason Dominguez was removed early from a game. Because like he was removed early from a game. They were up 12-8. It was the seventh inning.
The Yankees are going to trade. They're going to trade Dominguez and a bunch of other stuff for Soto.
They could, and there's a lot of talk about it. I mean, if you are the Yankees and you have the opportunity to get Soto, no matter the price, I think you're going for it right now because it's been a long time since you won a World Series, and I think adding him into that lineup is.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. You know, like, and they do have the capital to do it. They do have the capital. They have the ability to bring in Patrick Corbin as well with a bad contract that the Nationals have to alleviate some of their some of it would make sense if the Yankees wanted to do that, but they're going to have to give up almost everything that they own. They're going to have to
give up Volpe.
Yeah, they're going to have to give up Volpe. They're going to have to give up several other minor leaguers. Like the Nationals are asking to 4 to 5 prospects in the top 10. And I would actually imagine that they would ask for 4 of the top 5 of any system. And then they're also asking for some major league players. So that's what they think they're going to do with like a guy like Joey Gallo, potentially send him over to the Nationals in a giant deal. But if you're the Nationals and you're getting the Martian, who's apparently going to be the next God. If you're the Nationals, you've always said, okay, we can sell all these guys. We can get rid of Harper. We can get rid of Rendon. We can get rid of anybody and everybody that's played for the Nationals because we had Juan Soto to lean back on. You don't have a guy like Juan Soto right now in your farm system. You don't. And so this is a complete failure from the Nationals perspective. Now there's a lot of people that think he's going to get traded this trading deadline. I actually personally think that they won't trade him in this deadline and that he will, because the team is trying to get sold as well. So I think if you're an owner that's trying to buy into a team, you want to have the chance for a new owner relationship to potentially lock him down long term. So I think that's something they're going to keep in their pocket so that they can actually sell the team for more. Because if you buy a team with Juan Soto on it, rather than if you buy a team with the Martian, there's just more unknown.
I agree. I don't think he's going to move unless the Yankees. Well, the Yankees could ridiculously overpay, but I don't know. I don't know how you overpay.
I don't know if you can overpay.
I don't know if you can overpay. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Okay, so Juan Soto he was actually on my list as a sell now, so we're kind of on the same page with that. I think
I actually sold all of my Juan Soto cards this week.
You got to look at hype cycles, right? I mean, when are hype cycles going to be larger for him? Now, will he continue to be a generational player and break records and be amazing? Yeah, absolutely. But will that equal the hype cycle of Juan Soto? It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. He's going to have to do something on the field that has never been done before. And he will, but when will that happen? That's my question. So if you're holding, I think Juan Soto. I also had J-Rod as a potential sell, but I think that would be way too early. But hype cycle on J-Rod, and then I had Mac Jones as a guy. I didn't want to list all of them and then have you not steal your thunder there.
That's funny So Juan would definitely be a guy that I'm selling right now because of the liquidity in the market right now.
Yeah.
Like what we were talking about earlier, if you can sell cards that are moving right now and you can make money on it, 100% do it. Because right now, no matter what you're buying right now, it's probably lower than what it was 6 months ago when you wanted it. And so if you did have a guy that you wanted 6 months ago, his prices are probably way cheaper now. Sell some of your cards that you can get liquidity out of, crystallize it, move it into another asset, and keep growing.
Yeah, and speaking of Paul Fisher for the 14th time on this show, I mean, examining the hype cycles is key, and then continuing to talk about what they actually are, because I think what we learned from the NBA Finals this year and the Golden State Warriors winning is that a better time to sell Steph Curry probably was when he broke the all-time three-point record rather than when he won his 4th NBA championship. Mm-hmm. So I think that examining things like Soto's turning down the contract, getting all this hype, and then winning the home run derby might be a bigger hype cycle than Juan Soto doing something significant on the field. So we'll see.
I would argue that was the speculation of it is actually higher than when he actually gets traded.
Yeah.
People are going to be like, oh, because what if he gets traded to for instance, there's a lot of people that think that he could possibly get traded to the Mariners. I actually think they have a very, very good chance of getting Soto in the winter, not now, but in the winter, because I think it's a win-win for both teams depending on the package. But if he goes to the Mariners, the market's just. No one's going to get super excited about Juan Soto going to the Mariners other than maybe 15 people in the Seattle area, but if he goes to the Yankees, that's a different story, but still sell the speculation of him potentially going to the Yankees. So in case he does go to Seattle, you can still hype on it, so crystallize it.
All right, let's go to would you rather. So would you rather, Kendall, be, and everyone chime in the comments, and if you're watching in the live stream, comment as well. Would you rather be PSA's highest paid grader or start your own grading company with unlimited venture funding?
Would I rather be PSA's highest paid grader? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Or...
Would you rather sit back? Let me frame this up for you. Would you rather PSA come to you and say, "Hey, Lefty, we want to pay you more than our highest paid grader." I have no idea what a grader makes, by the way. But let's say it's more money than you make right now.
It 100% is probably.
and all you have to do, and let's say it's what you would want to be making 5 years from now, just to like sweeten the pot. Okay. Right. And let's say PSA says, we want you to sit back, grade cards for us, and be our highest paid grader. And that's all you do. Or would you rather have...
Do I work 40 hours a week?
Yeah. You work 40 hours a week.
Okay.
Or would you rather have someone with unlimited venture funding come to you and say, I'm going to back you in your new sports card grading company. I'm going to give you every penny that you could imagine coming your way to allow you to run the show and build a new sports card trading card grading company. Which one do you pick?
I just turned 30, Paul, last week.
Oh, happy birthday.
And I would think my 20s, I was praying every single day that like something like that last situation would pop off.
Yep.
And I grinded my teeth for the last 5, 6, 7 years to doing entrepreneurialism. I've started some businesses. I've done okay, like nothing crazy. Nobody's like popped out. Nobody's Gary V'd me, and honestly, it's really tiring. And I spent a lot of time and like a behind the curtain look at this. Like, I think I'd rather just spend time with my wife right now and just like, we're adopting, and like I want to go to like Valencia and stuff like that. And I think like I don't want to be a workaholic, and I think the past 5, 6, 7 years I have been. And I think right now what's more important to me is my time and my family and my fun. And like if I could get paid, enough to save for my kids' futures and whatever they want, or whatever, maybe not what they want, but what they need, but it's not lavish. And maybe I can get that $200,000 lake house that we talked about. Nothing crazy, but like, if like I can just kind of live life and really pour into people, like that's what I'm for. You paying me some
like this music is appropriate
some mood
for this.
Music.
Kendall,
yeah, so I'm choosing the first option.
I like it. I mean, I respect it. I think thank you for sharing that. And it makes sense. I mean, a lot of us are out there I think the sports card hobby, if I had to guess, is seems plush with entrepreneur type people. Either like true entrepreneurs, and that's what they are, or people with the entrepreneurial tendencies, if you will. Paul Carl Cards says he would start his own grading company with unlimited funding and pay myself a 42,069 figure salary, regardless of how the startup works. I mean, we've seen people do that in the world, Paul. I think the founder of WeWork actually did pretty well for himself in that regard. So that could be a move. That could be a move. He says #trillionaire mindset. That's good stuff. Kendall, I'm with you. I mean, you're not that much younger than me, man. I mean, I thought based on our previous podcast that you were like 22 or 23, the way that you would rip on me being 40. I didn't think you were 22 or 23, but I kind of questioned it for a little while. I was like, man, he's really slamming my references and telling me how much I'm I'm aging and dating myself with my references. So, I mean, I'll be 41 in about a month, a little less than a month, and 30 looks a lot closer to 41 than 29 does, doesn't it, buddy?
True that.
Yeah, but that's cool. That's a good one. I wanted to throw a little different type of would you rather out this week than what I did last week, and I don't know which one I'd pick. I would say I don't really have an answer for my would you rather. I would not want to start a grading company. I wouldn't want to do either. I wouldn't want to start a grading company. No way. Couldn't pay me enough to start a grading company. I know what it's like to promote a company. It's hard. And it's like the biggest grind to promote a new company from the ground up. And you have to believe in that company's value proposition more than you believe in anything else in the world, if that's going to work. And I do not believe in starting a grading company. I don't. It's already solidified for me with all of the companies that are out there. And I do not want to work for anyone. I do not want to have a boss. I will not ever be someone's employee ever again. I did that through age 35. And then I started my own company about 6 years ago. I had started companies on the side, just like you. I was just like you, where I had, I don't know if this is just like you, but I was a full-time employee of someone's company for the first about 17 years of my working life. And then I always had side hustles, multiple side hustles, and always wanted to turn that into a business. And then now that I basically don't have a boss, that's my path. So people can hire me for different things. I'm not above that, but they're going to be clients basically of mine and maybe business partners. So we'll see. But yeah, not in a grading company for sure. I don't want to grade cards either. I like cards.
No, can you imagine the customer service that you have to do?
Yeah.
Golly, everybody and their mom saying, no, this is a 9. This isn't,
I have so much respect for, I have so much respect for, especially Peter from SGC. I don't know him. But I know he messed up, but then nobody messed up and then came back like he did. I mean, he's come back and just been phenomenal. And that is the way, by the way, like I've messed up in the past with previous businesses with just not whatever, like something, nothing ever major, but just the best way is to just say like, even just a negative comment on a YouTube video to just be like, hey, I'm really sorry that this struck you the way that it did and you felt like you had to comment, but like here's my situation and here's why I put this out there. That wins people over. I mean, that's what, so I think, customer service is crazy. All right, Kendall, do you have a would you rather for me?
My basic thing was my would you rather was kind of like a more like 30,000 foot level type would you rather. Would you rather invest only in one sport singles PSA 10s, or would you rather invest in high quality, high dollar wax only?
Great one.
That's what so like if you have wax, you never freaking open it, and if you do, you don't keep any of them, and you don't sell them. Actually, you just give them away. Because then that doesn't make sense for the analogy. So you only if you open any of your wax,
I'm going to pass them down to my kids or something with the wax.
I mean, you can sell the wax. I mean, like
you can sell the wax.
You can be like a wax dealer or whatever.
Wax. Okay.
But you don't open wax. Or would you rather sell singles that are only encased?
I love this question. Great question. And would love to know the audience's take on this as well. This is better than my question, I think, because it relates to why I do KnowOffSeason.com and why we do the Sports Card Strategy Show, because this is what we're all about. Kendall, you remember, like in earlier episodes of the show, we talked about not only like how to break up your investment portfolio, but we also talked about like what different investing thesi should be, right? And one of mine that I feel very strongly about is like niching down almost to the player and just only focusing on one player at a time. Not like forever, but like one player at a time. If I had to pick between only singles of PSA 10 singles or wax, I would for sure pick PSA 10 singles. And my reason is for no other than that's my wheelhouse. My wheelhouse, my comfort zone is knowing who the player is and having a thesis on the player. The wax part for me, it takes a little bit more time and energy to understand what's in the checklist. I think if I didn't know as much about sports cards as I do now, if this were me maybe 2 years ago, I would have said, oh, well, maybe the wax because you can have more margin for error because of the rookie class, because of the class, or maybe it was so-and-so's last card or whatever. But I think the reality is that you have to know the checklist so well down to who was a redemption. That's a lot of work. You got guys that are redemptions in some products and not in others. You might even have some guys who are redemptions in some SKUs and not in other SKUs. You've even got short print parallels that are super valuable in a hanger box retail SKU only, but not in the hobby box. So you have to know the intricacies of the wax product so deeply that with the singles, you can simply, I think you can just move faster, move quicker, and you can actually see the product. Wax, you don't get to actually see, you see the product technically, but to me, it's not really the product. It's like, you don't really know what's in there. So I'm going single. Also, that it's a PSA 10 or a PSA 9 or whatever. That it's a raw card versus, maybe that print run of that wax was a bad print run and the condition of that card. Now, like owning the box and never opening it, I guess that doesn't really matter, but there's just something about knowing everything about the product that you're holding that I like also more than not really knowing everything about the product that you're holding. So what's yours on that one? I'm curious.
Well, sorry, my dog is gonna bark when you ask me to talk. So
no problem.
You
can barely hear the dog.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, his name's Griffey, so he's named after somebody in the sports card realm. So
I love Griffey.
I don't know. I go back and forth on this. And I like your arguments are exactly what I would think. It's exactly where I'm at with it. And with me, like my investing strategy has changed like I think 3 times in the past 2 years. Originally it was just all based on ignorance, and I was just like investing in players that I liked, all this kind of stuff. I was buying PSA 8 Jason Dominguez's, what is that? And now I can look back and laugh, and I'm wondering, like, in the future, can I look back and laugh on things that I'm thinking are really like my 79 Gretzky PSA 5. Am I going to laugh at that someday? But anyway, I think the only reason that it's even a conversation is the wax, I think, has more upside. And here's why I say that. Because like I'll take like Bowman 2018 Bowman, for instance. There's like Vladdy and Tatis in there. And so like rather than having a Vladdy PSA 10, you could have 2 of them. But like the unknown of it, if you're a good salesman, the unknown of it, like you could sell the hype of both of those guys being in there to somebody.
Yeah, totally.
What I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Not that everybody's stupid. Obviously, neither of them could be in there, which probably plays into the price as well. And I think the amount of time you have to spend on it is less at a nominal level. Like, of course, if you're like out of this world, like what you're talking about, you got to know everything in every price, like whatever. But if you're just like checking in, seeing if your stuff's going up and down, I think wax would be a little bit easier. There's less risk, I think, in one player. And there's more of a more of top side. But I think if I'm answering my same question, I'm still going to choose PSA 10s because that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah. Like I'm not collecting wax. Like look at behind me. These are singles,
yeah,
that's already what I'm doing.
We don't have wax on the site for that reason, just because I think it's also going to move slower. Yeah. And I'm not as patient I'm like some people are, and that's great. But yeah, it's a preference thing. There's no wrong answer, but I would say like my answer is singles for sure. And of one sport, I'm fine. I think I would almost like it if I was forced somehow into one sport, because I do feel like I spread myself thin a little bit. I need to, actually, this is a bad time to do this because of the market, but I'm trying to liquidate everything right now just so that I can have a clean slate and focus on like one thing at a time. I plan to continue to buy sports cards and invest in sports cards, but I'm trying to liquidate as much as I can right now just so that I can rebuild my investing strategy with the knowledge that I now have. For some reason, I'm not as comfortable. I did buy the Max Muncy card. For I think $406 that we talked about in the show a couple weeks ago out of 50, the gold auto. So I think that it's not that I'm not going to buy any card, but I'm only going to buy cards that I feel like are going to be in the next iteration of my sports card investment portfolio. So, and I may be more of a baseball guy moving forward. I just see so much liquidity in those prospect Bowman Chrome first prospect autos just move like crazy. So, all right, let's go to
back to that one quote that I told you a couple of weeks ago that was like, this guy, I just keep buying random $5 autos and these always go up. I'm laughing at that because they don't always go up, but like they do a lot.
But let me ask you this while we're on that topic before we go to the gauntlet. And we only have one gauntlet today, so we will be able to wrap up the show fairly efficiently. But I did open, so you know this. I bought half a case of the Bowman 2022 product, Bowman baseball, and I did strategically decide to have a little fun. I shipped 2 of the boxes to myself and I opened them, and I kept the other 4 in the vault.
Nice.
I did get autos and I did get some decent cards, but nothing. I mean, I would say probably right now if it's $250 a box, I'm probably down 20%. And I'd have to piece everything together, right? So I didn't get anything special. But with the autos that I did pull, and I actually did buy, I did find a blaster box of that product at Walmart, at my local Walmart, and I did pull an auto from one of those blaster boxes. It's nobody special, but it is an auto from a blaster box, so you can't complain. Should I treat those like I just bought those for $5, and should I just hold on to them and see, is there, I know I'm not giving you any information on who the players are, but in general for the audience, like if you do take that route with a guy, or more specifically, like kind of blowing your load, opening a box and not really getting a hit, is there a strategy for that? Or do you hold them, or do you use them as like extra packing material? And try to get a good eBay rating.
Yeah. I think primarily what you should do is you should send me which cards you got, on WhatsApp after this. But that would probably help you the most. And I could tell you, hey, this guy's a stud and this guy's
got
a dud,
something. Yeah.
So,
well, the first thing I do is I look up the comps on eBay, of course, just to see what they're going for. But yeah.
Right. But Indy Rodriguez is going for a lot cheaper than he should right now.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. There it is, people. All right. Well, hey, let's I'm going to cut you off and go to the gauntlet because we got to keep the show moving here. All right. So I've got some Bowman baseball versus Bowman basketball versus a lot of vintage Topps cards. So I think this should be right up your alley, my man.
Cool.
And you're the only one answering the gauntlet for today. So let's go to my screen share. And the first one is your guy. A lot of people's guy, Ellie De La Cruz, 2022 Bowman Chrome, first auto, purple refractor out of 250 PSA 9. 43 watchers, 14 bids. The next bid would be 415. This ends in 2 days. I think these are all in a range that will make sense to go against one another. So
okay.
The next one is Zach Veen. These are guys that you've talked about on the Baseball Card Strategy show. Bowman Chrome first draft black refractor auto out of 75.
So you're saying everything's going to go around 1,000?
everything's going to be in the range of maybe a couple $100 from one another, I would say, because like if you think about the Ellie De La Cruz should get up to maybe double what it is now, and then this Veen you can make an offer on. So this seller obviously isn't saying that they need $1,000 for this card, but I don't know, maybe it's $750. And I haven't checked recent comps either, so this is just kind of gut feel as we go. So between the Veen and the Ellie De La Cruz, maybe just pick the player and why. I mean, obviously pick the card too, but you've got one that's numbered to 75. That's a black refractor auto. You've got another that's already graded PSA 9 out of 250. I also kind of thought Kendall probably likes Ellie De La Cruz a little bit more than he likes Zach Veen. I could be wrong on that. So it's a little bit of a higher end Zach Veen card. That's kind of why I was thinking this for the first round. Maybe trying to make it difficult on you.
Yeah, you're right. I do like him more than Zach Veen, but I also like Zach Veen. But I think both of these cards have some sort of a ding on them for me. The Ellie is a 9, and I think 9s are quickly becoming the equivalent to a raw card.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've spoken about how previously 8s used to be the equal of a raw card. I think 9s are now equal to a raw card.
Yeah, and you've told me that you would crack my Pedri 8s autos and sell them as raw.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's kind of like, you know, kind of.
You said that on the air, so
yeah.
You're on record as saying that. I don't know if it's shady or not. I don't.
I think it is shady, you know, because like you're selling it to somebody who's like, oh, maybe I can send this in and get a 10. Like, well, actually, you can send this in and get an 8, but you know.
Yeah, but apparently, based on earlier comments in the show, you could get a 6 or a 10 or whatever. Who knows?
That's true. Send it to a new fresh grader 10.
Yeah, why not?
I'm gonna choose the Veen because of the pop count. The pop count on this is obviously 75 or 74 others. I love the black refractor. I think that's such a cool looking parallel. And I think Zach Veen is nowhere close to being as good as Ellie De La Cruz is right now in projections, high end wise. Ellie is going to be incredible and has the ability to be like out of this world good. But I would plan on moving these in the next 12 months, and so I would imagine that Zach Veen out of 75. I know it's off center left to right. I can already see that, so I'm not going to grade it. I would just sell it raw. Yeah. All
right, Zach Veen's up. Next is Mason Wynn. So you've talked about this guy on, I think you mentioned him briefly on the Baseball Card Strategy show. And then he also in the futures game, I wanted to incorporate some futures game talk for you here since that just happened last week. He threw like 105-mile-an-hour throw to first base or something like that. Got a little hype for that. So this is a Mason Wynn spelled Masyn, and then the last name Winn for those of you listening. On Apple or Spotify. This is one of those good old firsts. So this is a 2020 Bowman draft Mason Wynn first edition gold foil out of 50. It is not autographed. And it is also his first Bowman. So it's a first. Serial numbered. I typically throw in autograph cards. This one is not. So you've got the Veen out of 75. You've got the Wynn out of 50. Who are you going with here? One's a buy it now for $9.99. The other's a buy it now, or they're both or best offer. This is for $7.80, and it's a PSA 10 already.
Yeah. Oh man. That first put this up, I was like, it is a Mason Wynn out, like no chance. Like this is 100%, especially at this price. I was like, oh my god. And then I realized I was like, oh, it's not autographed. Okay, I got you. Like, I just
it's
assumed,
tough.
Yeah,
nothing's perfect. He's thinking. I don't have the Jeopardy music.
I think I would take the Mason Wynn. Although I actually think they're closer in value than than this looks like.
So the price can play into your decision then, you know?
Yeah. But I think if this is at 780 buy it now, I think this person would probably go down to about 650 or 680 actually even. And I think, you know, you could do this and then find another Zach Veen auto very easily for 300. So,
all right. So you going with Mason Wynn?
Yeah, I'm going with Mason.
All right. So then Mason Wynn is going to go up against three of the 2022 Bowman baseball factory sealed hobby boxes that I just spoke about in the previous segment, at the end of the previous segment.
Dude, we just did this. Like, I just basically did this in my last either whether would you rather of having an awesome single or some wax.
Yeah, you did. And we didn't plan that, everybody. Like, Kendall did his would you rather. We don't talk about this. So he doesn't know what the gauntlet's going to be. I don't know what his would you rather is going to be. So we basically did just do this. So which one are you picking though? Because you can get this one Mason Wynn. I think I know which one I'm picking, but who are you picking? They're two different sets.
I'm still picking the Mason Wynn.
Yeah, okay.
That's
what I'm picking too.
Yeah. I think there's definite more upside, 100% more upside in this 22 Bowman, and I've been on that the whole time that this 22 Bowman set is going to be ridiculously valued.
Yep. I've still got 4 of them, so I'm glad that you say that.
In the future, I think this set is still going to be worth quite a bit of money because of the guys that are in it. For instance, you looked all over the futures game and there were guys like that were good Bowman prospects, and like half of them were in this set.
Here's another thing. The Wander base Bowman rookie in PSA 10 right now is going for over $100. Now, I know it's not easy to get the PSA 10, but this is a card that's in like almost every pack of this.
I have like 100 of them.
Yeah. So there's a lot in here.
Yeah, I still think this value-wise, long-term, this would be way more valuable than the Mason Wynn, especially with the 3 of them. Like, I think they could all very easily be over $1,000 a piece down the road.
Let's go. All right.
But I'm gonna take the Mason Wynn for now. That's why I
bought into it. Okay, Mason Wynn for now. I think that's a good call. So interesting. All right, now we're gonna talk about a card that we've talked about before. But when we talked about this and you slammed it for being its own curated thing. He wasn't a member of your Oklahoma City Thunder.
I knew this was gonna come back and bite me.
So I'm bringing back Chet. I'm like figuring out how can I try to stump Kendall here in the gauntlet. And you know, this is number 49 out of 49. His autograph Chet, number 34. So it's kind of inscribed, if you will. Who knows how he's gonna sign all the time? On card auto, encased tops now. Not a bad card. This is already 25 bids. 20 additional watchers. The next bid is $770. So it's pretty even with the Mason Wynn.
Yeah, this one's not even close for me either. I'm going Chet.
Yes. We got him to go Chet.
Even I don't even collect basketball cards. Like, you know, but like I just think there's so much upside for him this year. Like, in the next 12 months, Chet cards are going to go freaking nuts, I think, because, like, the Thunder are going to play him as much as they can, and he's going to get as much run as possible. I'm adding it to my watch list.
Kendall, who hates this kind of set and hates basketball, says to buy this Chet.
But I'm also selling it as soon as I can, so that I can buy one with his actual jersey.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to tell you who the next Chet is going to be. He's probably going to be bigger than Chet. Victor Wembanyama.
But it doesn't matter if he's not a Thunder for me.
Yeah, I know. But just to everybody else in the middle of your gauntlet.
Okay.
Pay attention to a guy named Victor Wembanyama. You're welcome. Anyway, okay, so Chet. All right, so let's go to the next one because you could talk more about Chet. So this is a lot of 1966 tops. And apparently you've got I can't zoom.
Does it have the yep, there it is.
Multiple photos. So you've got Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, Pete Rose rookie card. Is that right? There's Lou Brock. I saw him in there. So this is a lot. And we talked earlier, actually, this was not planned, but Paul in the comments mentioned buying lots, and then Greeny Green said lots are where it's at. Has anyone commented, Kendall? Do I need to bring in any comments? I can only see this one. I can only see this one monitor.
The last one was like 8 minutes ago, but he said LOL.
Okay, Al Kaline, Brooks Robinson.
That Lou Brock is actually worth some money.
Phil Necro. All right, so this lot is buy it now. So let's review this. So you would have to continue to bid on this, Chet, first of all, if you're thinking of the price. So the price is already $200 more, but it's going to be more like double this card lot. So basically the Chet's going to be double what you could get this this lot of 1966 tops for. With all, I'm assuming these are all of the big cards from that set.
Yeah, they are.
Now, who knows? Are they trimmed? Are they, what condition
are
they in? I don't know.
Can you see my camera?
Now you can. Better. Is that those two Manals?
These are 266 Manals.
God, high roller over there. Good work.
No, one of them's not mine. One of them is one of them that's going in one of our PSA submissions. I just thought it was cool. I had both of those on my desk. That you were. This one is mine actually, but anyway. Okay, what's the price of the lot?
Okay, so I stopped sharing my screen. So the price of the lot is $579. And Chet's going to be over 1,000, I think.
Yeah,
and this is the last one, so I don't need to share my screen anymore. So
I'm picking Chet.
Chet wins. Wow.
Because I know that Mickey Mantle is probably like that. Pete Rose and the Mickey Mantle are going to be the ones that are going to be liquid easily. And I know that Mickey right now is about $130, $140 a piece. And I know that Pete Rose is probably around 80 to 100. So I'm right now. There's way more buying opportunity for the Chet, and I only have to sell it once.
There it is. You don't have to go through the lot. I like your thought process there. Now, I never in a million years would have thought that a Tops Now card, an unlicensed Tops Now card, that's going to be the headline of this video. That's going to be unlicensed Tops Now card wins the gauntlet. Let's go. There's a first time for everything. And it's Chet. Kendall loves Chet.
I do love Chet.
All right. So I'm going to quickly run through the moves in the sports card investment report, who is up and who is down at nooffseason.com. This is obviously a subject that is always front and center for me as I put together.
Paul did comment on it, by the way.
Sports card investment report. Yeah, Paul, did Paul comment on the Gauntlet? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he commented on the very last edition.
On this one right here,
if it's a buy it now and it's still active as a lot, it's overpriced for splitting up for singles and priced for a collector.
Good call, Paul. Exactly. Paul Carl bringing it strong. Yeah. Okay. So he knows his stuff off the top of the dome. I believe you there, Paul. That's a good call. So, all right, good stuff. And then yeah, he has another tip in there. So everybody needs to watch this and participate in the live stream because Paul's got some more tips for you. All right. So sports card investment report, who is up and so let's talk about who's added because there's more added to the report than there is movement. I already talked about WWE, UFC. I didn't talk about tennis. We've added a ton of tennis cards. And we've added a ton of, I talked about celebrity cards. I did add a ton of baseball prospects. I talked about this in the last episode. I'm going to need Kendall's help in terms of ranking these as we get closer to the fall and baseball itself is dying down in terms of what's happening with the big leaguers. I am going to, which is not that far away, I am going to re-rank the baseball card rankings at nooffseason.com to be more future focused around which prospects are likely to materialize and which the baseball card rankings are going to kind of take the lead in in changing the rankings around to who can you buy low now? So Kendall mentioned Endy Rodriguez. So Endy's number 24. Well, it sounds like Endy might need to be moved up based on what Kendall's saying. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, moving these. But we've added a ton of guys. So we've added
Ezekiel Duran, great one.
We've added I think since the last time we had a show, we added Veen, Penango, Muncie. We definitely first time for Wynn.
Oh, Gunnar Henderson, stud.
Gunnar Henderson. We added Bryce Harper. Shout out Deborah Roberts. Deborah Roberts on the Facebook.
Let's go, Deborah.
Where is Bryce Harper? And then I said he was washed up, and Kendall's like, no, he's not. And I said, all right, let's dig into this more. He's got to have a profile. So Bryce Harper has a profile. And then we've got some other guys that Kendall has dropped in the Baseball Card Strategy show. Pomares, Arroyo, Amador, Ezekiel Tovar. These are the kind of guys we want to dig into. And we moved Khalil Watson down quite a bit based on what Kendall
said. Move Khalil Watson off.
Kendall says, don't even pay any attention to Khalil Watson. Get him off.
They sent him down to the lowest rank possible. Just saying.
Yeah. Greeny Green says thoughts on UFC cards. So Greeny Green, if you missed it earlier in the show, I've added a ton of UFC cards to the sports card investment report. There's one guy in particular I can drop a little nugget. I'm not a UFC aficionado. I would say I'm far from it, but I do know that from looking at our rankings, it seemed like the market was saying that it was a good opportunity to buy a guy like Jorge Masvidal, just based on the numbers. I don't know really anything about what's happening in UFC, but it seemed like he had some numbers that made sense. So you'd have to check that out. And then also Nate Diaz. These are guys that are not ranked necessarily number 1 and 2, but just the numbers were saying that a couple particular cards of theirs looked like great buys. So I'll throw out their names, but of course you've got some bigger names on that list. I think UFC cards in general definitely will have some legs. I just think that growing market, great marketing, loyal fan base. The question's going to be, do UFC fans get into sports cards? Is that a thing? Or do we have sports card? I do think that's actually my only concern with UFC cards is that, I wonder, do UFC fans care about the cards? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's actually a bigger deal than we would give that credit for at face value. And I've got some real life experience with wrestling fans. Wrestling fans I created a fantasy wrestling game. I won't talk about this too much, but I did launch a fantasy wrestling game with TNA and Impact Wrestling back in the mid 2000s, but 2010, 2011. And it was very successful for free, but they did not want to pay for it. And so they wanted to try it because it had to do with wrestling, but they did not care about fantasy sports. They didn't want like a CBS Sports Line type product for their wrestling. So I wonder if I know UFC is different, but is it more similar to wrestling or is it more similar to baseball? I have no idea. So we'll find out. I do think it's more like F1. I think it's more like F1, which gives me more confidence in it. I hear F1 podcasts talking about UFC. I hear UFC podcasts talking about F1 from a cards perspective, and F1's done very well. So he's talking about Alexander Romanov and Sean Brady. I'm going to have to do some research into those guys and add them to the report, Greeny Green. Check back at nooffseason.com, click on the UFC card rankings. I'll have profiles on those guys for you. I got to do my research with my team. So that's my thought.
We'll put UFC these two names on your list. Molly McCann, what she did this weekend was pretty incredible. So she fought on Saturday, and then she also fought with Patty Pimblett, and they were like what they did this weekend. Like if you're unfamiliar with what went on this weekend, Paul, like go ahead and go look it up. But Molly, like maybe not right now, but later. Molly is an up and comer. Right now, she doesn't have very many cards outside of like Panini Instants, which are basically Tops Now cards. I think she could be pretty electric in the hobby soon. I think nowhere near like Nunez or Holly. Sorry, not Holly Holm. Well, I mean, I guess Holly Holm, but Ronda Rousey. There's not. I don't think she's at that level yet, but I think she could be. She seems like a person that the crowd is getting behind. And I think that's what matters in UFC. Like UFC, I don't think it matters if you're 1,000-0 if you don't have fans. Like I think still an Anderson Silva card would sell. I think still like a Chuck Liddell card would sell. I think still a Forrest Griffin card would sell. Like, but there's just guys that, and this is the same with baseball. Like Jordan Alvarez, his cards don't really sell, but he's freaking good, and so it's like I just think that, but there's not a whole lot of Jordan and fans only out there. I think UFC really feels that same way. So.
Yeah, that's cool. So this is our live chat Q&A right now, by the way. So thanks to Greeny Green for getting us into it. We're going to hang for a few more seconds if anyone has anything else to ask. Paul Carl says he's only sold one UFC card, but he's only listed 20. Paul Carl is
the 200 and 400 an hour man has only listed 200 or only listed 20.
When Paul Carl has only listed 20, that's a small sample size, but that is seems to be a lot of UFC cards to have listed in general for most people. So good work, Paul. But yeah, okay. So thanks for asking, Greeny Green. I'm gonna add more of those guys to nooffseason.com.
I've only ever owned 20.
I know. So that's our Q&A. Kendall, do you have anything to add to the show today? I always give you the opportunity to add something if we didn't talk about it. What else is on your mind before we sign off for today?
I'm increasingly jumping into soccer cards. I think there's just so much that could be there. And interestingly enough, I think that there's some young Americans that really played well in the under 20 World Cup that are going to be on that 2026 World Cup team that are worth investing in. And there's a couple of guys that I think are in MLS sets right now for rookie cards that are going to be worth quite a bit of money when they move overseas. And we've talked about some of them in Paxton Aronson and Caden Clark, but Caden, there's some other guys out there basically there. I mean, like, of course, Pepe is young and everything, but there is a San Jose Earthquakes player.
Hey, Kendall, while you look this up, can you and I carve out some time in early September and go through like baseball card prospecting, like off air, and soccer card prospecting, and like get some of my stuff together for nooffseason.com based on this, and then come back and I mean, I don't mean to cut you off. You definitely say who you're talking about right now, but I just think this is something I need to prioritize for the site.
Yeah, I would agree with you because I think soccer cards are about to go crazy. But Cade Cowell is an interesting name that I've been researching over the last couple of weeks. He's a San Jose player, and he was born in 2003. He's around that same age group, though, of the other guys that we were talking about. Interestingly enough, with Cade, though, is him and his brother are getting recruited by the Mexican national team as well. And so there's like this, there's a couple of guys in this age group that are getting dual recruited basically because they have dual citizen eligibility. And I think Cade is an interesting name. He's already been linked to potentially as an Everton target, which I've been wearing an Everton jersey the entire thing, which is why I first got into him. Because I was like, oh, interesting there. And I already knew who Cade Cowell was because I watch a lot of MLS. But I think, for instance, I just snagged a San Jose break slot that has Cade's rookie card in it for $20 for Sapphire Hobby Boxes. And there's 2 of them. So like, I think there's a good opportunity to potentially make a flip trade there, especially if he does end up signing with the Mexican national team, if he declares allegiance there, or potentially if he ends up in the U.S. men's national team. He's already on the U20 team. He, like, for instance, what I'm looking at right now is his profile on ussoccer.com. So, I just think he's an interesting guy, and I think he's probably likely to go overseas, and him and his little brother are going to play well. And it reminds me of the Aronson brothers, like they both have flair and they score goals. So anyway, there's another name for you, Cade Cowell.
Phenomenal. I love that. And for any of you questioning like the health of sports card investing, you can just take one of Kendall's sentences right there in a vacuum where he said he got into a San Jose Earthquakes MLS break slot. So that is happening in the world, Kendall. I love you for that. That is why you are the host of the Soccer Card Strategy Show here on the nooffseason.com Sports Card Content Network. And before we leave, I'm just going to hit up Greeny Green's question. Are we even bothering with the 2022 NFL draft class? And I would say TBD, but I would say for now, Andy Kaysen, the host of the Football Card Strategy Show and Football Card Quest, believes that there are some plays to be made with some position players. So the Football Card Strategy Show episode 4 that just aired last night on the feed and is available now on the feed. Go to footballcardstrategy.com for episode 4 quick link. Andy actually goes through a bunch of guys because there is that Bowman U set and there are some draft pick sets that have been released. So there's
I have 2 hobby boxes right next to me of that if you want
so
it.
if you want to buy one, Kendall's trying to move them. But there are some singles. Traylon Burks was a guy that he mentioned as being low right now because he's having some breathing issues and he's not practicing. But he's going to have those as his primary cards before the licensed pro stuff comes out. And so there's plays to be made where Andy thinks guys like Burks and other wide receivers, can potentially have a hype game. He calls it a hype game. I like Andy's terminology to do. So I think there's quick plays to be made, Greeny Green, but I do think overall it's definitely a TBD on that, because if you listen to other guys in the hobby that know what they're talking about, it could be a down year when the pro product gets released, but you just never know. Anything can happen in the NFL. Malik Willis can come out and be phenomenal this year. We have no idea.
I would love that.
Yeah, I would too. So, all right, everybody. Thank you for watching and listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show. This has been episode 40, brought to you by nooffseason.com, the Sports Card Content Network. I'm Paul Hickey with nooffseason.com. He's Kendall McKee, the catalytic lefty from Wild Cards Box Breaks, justbaseball.com, and nooffseason.com. We want you back here every Monday with us, and we want you to listen to the show. If you're not here every Monday, listen to it on Apple and Spotify. Check it out on YouTube. Everybody, thanks for watching and listening, and have a great day.